Hello, I'm Dr. Papia Bhattacharjee. In this problem, we have two functions. One is a demand function given as p is equal to 90 minus x, and then the second is the cost function, which is given as c equals 100 plus 30x. We have to find the price per unit that will maximize the profit. So, to solve this problem, the best thing is to write down what we have, what we need to find, and what all these different letters mean. Okay, so the small p is the price per unit, and x represents the number of units that are produced of some product. This c, that's the cost of production of per unit. And let's see, so those are already given. So what do we not have? We don't have profit, so let's write big P for the profit function. And in order to calculate profit, we need revenue, which we don't have either. So let's call R for revenue. Okay. Now also notice that what we need to find, we have to find price. So our question is find P, so that's what we need to figure out, that will maximize profit, to maximize the big P. So that's what we need. So that's our question. Okay. Now, we have to maximize profit, so we need the profit function. So what is the profit function? How do we calculate that? What is P? Now, we know that profit is revenue minus cost. And revenue is R, and cost is C. Okay. Now, we already have the cost function, so that's easy, but we don't have the revenue function. So how do we calculate that? Well, look, X is the number of units of some product, and P is the price per unit. So if we multiply them, X times P, that's the total price for X unit, and that's the revenue. So R is X times small p minus, that's revenue, and then profit is revenue minus cost. So we have XP minus C. Okay, now we have everything because we have P, we have C. So let's write that down. So P is 90 minus X, and then minus C is 100 plus 30x. Okay, let's simplify this. So this is 90x minus x squared, then minus 100, then minus 30x. Let's simplify. We have negative x squared, and then 90x and minus 30x is giving you plus 60x, and we also have a negative 100. So this is our profit function. So this is P. Okay, we have the function. Remember, we have to maximize P. So to find the maximum point for what price. That will come later. Now let's remember how to maximize a function. What is the mathematical concept behind it? So if you recall, given a nice and smooth and continuous function, the function will have a maximum. Say the function is f. It has a maximum point then when you draw the tangent line to the curve, that line is going to be horizontal. And horizontal tangent line has 0 slope. But slope of tangent line corresponds to the derivative of the function. So wherever the function has a max, the derivative of the function is 0. And we can use that concept here because we have the function. We can take this derivative, we can set it equal to 0, and we can get the maximum value. Right? So let's try to do that. So we want to find the derivative of the profit function, which means it is the derivative of negative x squared plus 60x minus 100. And that will give you, so the first term, negative x squared, the derivative is negative 2x, just using the power rule. Second term, 60x, derivative is plus 60 times 1, because derivative of x is 1. And then 100 is a constant, so the derivative is 0. So if we simplify, this is negative 2x plus 60. And now let's find the maximum value. So for max profit, we need the derivative of the profit is equal to 0, which means we need negative 2x plus 60 equals to 0. And this is a simple linear equation with the variable x, and we just solve for x. So to solve, keep the 60 on the left hand side and take the negative 2x to the right hand side as positive 2x, and then divide by 2. So 60 divided by 2 is equal to x, and therefore x is 30. So remember that derivative equal to 0 corresponds to not always max, but also min of a function. Because if the function has a minimum point, the slope is 0 also at that point. So there is a possibility that this x equals 30 will give us a maximum. But we can't be sure just from this fact that it will give us a max. It could give us a min as well. So how do you know that this will be corresponding to the maximum profit? Now go back to the profit function right here and notice that the expression is quadratic. Therefore, when you graph this function, it will be a parabola. Now what kind of parabola will it be? You know, if the x squared has a negative sign, the parabola will be opening downward. So it will look like this. And if it does, it's just a simple parabola, you know that it will have a max and not a min, because it's opening down. And therefore, we know for sure that this x value, because there's just one x value we got, will correspond to the maximum profit. So x equals 30 corresponds to maximum profit. Does that solve our problem? Is that all? Let's go back and make sure that we look at our problem one more time. So remember what we have to find? Not x. We have to find the small p. We have to find for what price will the profit be max. So we are not quite done yet. We have the x, and we have to figure out what is the price. So let's do it right here. Price is, let's go back. See, p is 90 minus x. So 90 minus x, x is 30. Because x equals 30 corresponds to maximum profit. So you come back here. So p is $60 because it's the price. So $60 per unit will correspond to maximum profit. $60 per unit will give max profit. And that is our answer. Thank you.